Are we on? Let's wait a little bit longer. Good evening. Hello everyone. Welcome to this live on Bridges of Light International. We are going to be together 1 hour. Thank you for whoever is going to join us right here, right now. Thank you for whoever is watching this later on. Thank you, Bridges of Light, and thank you, Life, for allowing us to live. Today we are going to be talking about how to communicate effectively, especially how to communicate peacefully. Today we're going to be talking about peaceful communication and about how to handle conflict. In other words, how to be able to communicate in any circumstance. It's easier, in fact, to say whatever we want to say when we are at ease, when we want to communicate something that we know is going to be appreciated by others. But sometimes we may want to communicate something that is generating in us already an upset. We have an emotional charge about what we want to communicate, and maybe we are worried because we know that others may not like what we want to communicate. So for as much as we can in this hour together, we're going to investigate and see how can we communicate peacefully in any circumstance. There are few things that, if taken into consideration, they can truly allow us to be clearer about what we want to communicate, how we want to communicate what we want to communicate, and how to see through, to see behind maybe somebody that is talking to us in an angry way, in an aggressive way. So, but let me say hello Mariella. Good Saturday evening to you too. Hello Felicetta. Ciao. Hello Silvia. Nice to see you again. Yes, nice to see you again, Silvia, too. Okay, let's start talking about communication. Please, if you want to share anything, write your comments. If you want to ask anything, fantastic. I love questions. And I'm just going to start telling you what I feel there are 4 major points to be mindful of about how to communicate before we want to communicate anything to anybody. And also at the end of the live, remind me if I forget, but I'm sure I'll remember. I'm going to attach the invite, because I used to do. This was one of the workshops that I used to present to the public. Peaceful communication. So I created also, and I used to give out at the end of the workshop, what I call the invite, which is a few sentences that, as always, I find very useful, and they're only useful actually if are put into practice. In other words, the whatever I will put in a comment at the end, it is called, you see, peaceful communication, the invite. Whatever is written there, I can't underline enough. Please don't just read it, put it into practice. For how long? Forever. I'm not kidding. If we want our life to change, if we want something in our life to transform, in this context, for example, if we want to learn how to communicate effectively, it's not enough to do something to change the way we do something for a period of time. There are habits, there are things that it's good to do always, from the moment you start until they become habitual and natural to you. But anyway, I believe that the 4 major things to keep in mind to be able to communicate effectively In other words, an effective communication is clear, is honest, is complete, and responsible. What do I mean by that? I mean, by clarity, I mean, before we want to communicate anything, it's important that we are clear, that we know what we want to communicate. And the first person that we have to be clear about whatever we want to communicate doesn't lie outside of ourselves. It's ourselves. In other words, start listening. You may already do this, so keep doing it. But start listening to your feelings. Start noticing how you feel about anything and everything. And when there is something that you don't quite like, I invite you to tell yourself, to communicate to yourself, to be clear about what you don't like and also what you like. But even more so, if there's other people involved in the situation, and of course life is made of relationships, so there will always be people involved in our life. So when we are clear about something that we would like to communicate, and let's say, for example, now that it's something that we don't like, because of course it comes very natural and it's normal to communicate something we like. In fact, normally in life, people and us are normally doing these two different things when we communicate with others. We are either saying thank you for something or saying something that they like, or they are requesting something or telling others something that they don't like. So the challenge is when we are clear about something that we don't like. So we have to be clear about what is it that we don't like. So then we have to be honest about this. So we have to know that in the way we communicate, we have to be able to explain why we don't like something. And there is a way. It's very important when we communicate something with honesty that we address the facts, meaning we say what we don't like without judging the person we are talking with. Easier said than done, because especially if we are feeling upset about something, but it's fundamental, because the other person, the moment that he or she feels judged, in other words, if they feel attacked by us, they are not going to listen to us anymore. It's impossible, because they normally automatically get upset, they get angry, and when the anger takes over them, there's no way that they've got a clarity of mind to be able to listen to us. Then something else that it's important when we communicate is to have a complete communication, meaning to say what we have to say, but say everything. It's okay. If we are thinking of something, especially if we are explaining something we don't like about a situation or about somebody to somebody, if we leave something unsaid, if the communication is not complete, here again, easier said than done, but the other person feels it, and it creates more problem that it solves. So it's important, if we decide to communicate something from our heart, that we say everything. The truth, nothing but the truth. I know sometimes it's not easy, although it is always the most advisable and the most efficient thing to be done. And then, of course, the communication has to be responsible. In other words, we have to know that whatever we are saying and the way we feel about what we are saying, it is our responsibility. In other words, it is the way we are perceiving the situation or the person that we don't like, and we are responsible for our feelings, but also we are responsible for being aware that whatever we are saying may be misinterpreted, and it may generate some kind of emotion from the other part that they may not like and we may not like. Okay, so to know that we are embarking in a situation where we don't know what's going to unfold, it allows us to be more present and more prepared for whatever the situation may present. But let me read, because I want to connect with something that is alive that you say instead of keep talking, and you might be thinking I'm not interested in this. Sylvia say, I usually refer to the behavior, not the person. Yes, that's a wonderful way of approaching situation and people, because it's very different if we say to somebody, I don't like what you did, and everybody really can accept that because we're not attacking them. But it's a complete different story if we say, I don't like you. Or even, I don't like how you behave. I don't like what you have done in that context. It's even better if we can really be objective about everything that we have observed and what we don't like, unless it's somebody that has got lots of issues within himself or herself, and in other words, that they get triggered very easily, they can really accept what we are telling them. But definitely, even if it's somebody that it's not easily triggered, the moment they feel judged, the moment they hear, oh, you are, I don't know, you are useless or you're stupid or whatever it is that we may be telling them, we lost them. In other words, there's no point in carry on communicating if they're feeling angry, because the communication would definitely not be effective, and they would not hear what we want to hear. Although, having said that, if we start already with a judgment, and if there is an emotional charge from our part, it's very difficult anyway that the communication was going to be peaceful. So, an advice that I would give to anyone, again, not easy, I know, not easy, but if you have some outstanding issue with somebody, be aware and be mindful that what you feel is the issue, what is generating the uncomfortable emotion that you are feeling, which it could be the anger, the frustration, or whatever else. It's your issue. I'm serious. In other words, okay, they may be actually behaving in a way that you not like, and that's fine. But the emotional charge is something that you created. We are the one owning the emotional charge. So unless we really find ourselves so driven by and so impulsively wanted to have a discussion with somebody, really it's never advisable. So sit within yourself, see how you feel, really feel the anger, feel the frustration or whatever it is, and then when you can really see that the anger is produced by something that has happened or something that somebody else has done and you have not liked, then if you are able to keep calm, then go and talk to the person and be very careful of telling them that, hey, you have to tell them what you have seen that you don't like, so the fact. Then how you feel, you have to acknowledge your feeling, that because of what they've done, you felt this way, because you interpreted what they've done in a certain way. And then tell them what you need from them. It's very important. What do you need them to do for you to feel at peace with them and the situation? What you need, and then also, it's very important as well, because otherwise you leave them in no man's land. They don't know what to do, but if you give them a solution, they will be very willing, if you do this properly, to do what you ask for to do, tend to do. When you know what you need them to do, you ask them, meaning you ask them, but you make a request. But be very careful, that has to be a request and not, I repeat, not a demand. Think about this. Do you like when somebody tells you, you must do this, or you mustn't do this? Do you like it? Probably not. Nobody likes to be told what to do. But there's a big difference if I tell you, for example, Sylvia, I would very much appreciate if you did this. I would very much appreciate if you didn't do this. And you know why it's very powerful, that, and it's also very organic in different way. We are always, whatever we do in life, whenever we like something or we don't like something and we communicate it to others, it's important to start from us. Like, I need this from you, so I would like you to do this, okay? I'm not going outside of myself. I'm asking you, would you do this for me? And I'll tell you what, people, but all of us, love to give more than to receive. So if you know how to make requests from people from now on and never ever make any demands anymore, life becomes much, much easier, because you give the opportunity to people to experience and express a part of themselves that everybody loves expressing, which is generosity, which is giving, which is being loving. But the moment somebody hears a demand, everything changes. So you see what I mean? So when you need something, the egotistic way is a demand. You must do this. The organic, soulful, anemic way is putting out a request. I would like this. Okay, but now let me read. I hope I was clear enough. Hello, Clemente. Ciao. Hello, welcome. Syria says, for instance, your action was rude, not you were rude. Exactly, absolutely. Your action was rude. And when we tell them, we give them already the opportunity to do another action, but it doesn't affect their identity. It doesn't affect their integrity. And it's very important, to love somebody, and it took me years to understand this. To love somebody, to really love somebody, well, anybody, because we're not talking about romantic love here, but means to respect them. Okay, so to respect them, it means to respect, yes, I know it's got a bad reputation, but it's not so bad. It means to respect their ego. In other words, let's be careful, and I've been very guilty of that in the past. That's why I say be careful with this. If somebody, it would get offended if you say something, well, that it's telling something because of the way their self-image or whatever, that would really upset them. I know it may be tempting, and also maybe because, and this is the mistake, I'm not talking for you, this is what I used to do, by the way. I used to think, it's just your image, it's just your projection, it's just your ego, so I don't care about it. I'm gonna squash it like a mosquito. So I'm gonna tell you something even if you don't like it, because it's just your image. No, it's really terrible. So this is to say, yes, even to somebody that maybe, yes, they always behave in a rude way. Maybe they always have tendency that people diagnostically, for example, they would categorize them as being narcissistic or whatever. But be careful, because A, they're not aware of what they're doing, and B, for them it's like you put a knife through them. For them it's very important. That's why people kill for these reasons. So anyway, Thank you, Sylvia, for pointing out. Yes, always address the behavior and never the person, even if you think it's only it's only an image of you, it's only your projection. No, but for them it's reality. For them, it's their life. Anyway, Mariella says, I personally think we have to be honest, clear, respectful, and responsible. First of all, with our intimate feelings, yes, without lies, and communicate them to people we are interested and involved with. I totally agree, Mariella. Yes, yes. You know, if we are not able to be intimate, honest and clear, and respectful and responsible for our own feelings, surely we are not able to do that with others. Because the way we relate with ourselves, it's the matrix, it's the blueprint of how we are willing and able to relate with other people. So yes, that is fundamental. The first person we communicate with is ourselves. In fact, it's also extremely important to have a peaceful and a loving and inspiring communication with ourselves, because we live with ourselves. I mean, this is something that is very overlooked. Again, think about it. It's easier, isn't it, to give a good advice or to inspire a friend or a family member, anyway, somebody else. But with us, sometimes we are, my gosh, no mercy. But hey, we need our love, we need our support, we need our inspiration, you know. It's vital, and we even need it more than the inspiration and the admiration of other people. Because even if other people love us and admire us and inspire us, unless we are able to do it, maybe we hear them, but we don't feel it and we don't believe it. And again, this is not the only reason, but one of the components, one of the reasons why sometimes people, again, that in the face of the world, they have everything, but they haven't got self-esteem. They haven't got a loving inner relationship with themselves. So they haven't got a loving communication with it themselves. And maybe to the eyes of the world, they are gods. Maybe they're talented, maybe they see them as loving people and so on and so forth. But they're not happy. And some of them even decide to terminate their life. Why? Because, again, our first relationship is with ourselves. Our inner dialogue, it's fundamental. Let's also reflect about this. Our inner dialogue, it is something often that we haven't even created. We haven't even started to talk to ourselves. What do I mean? What I mean is that most of the time, people speak in their head, talk in the head. In other words, the little voice in the head, it's not their voice. It's the voice of their mother or their father or whoever was looking after them when they were kids. And normally, they are not positive messages. Normally, they're like very judgmental and critical kind of communications. And we have internalized these little voices. And we think that it is our voice, but it's not. Our voice, our inner dialogue, it's a quality, an ability, a faculty that we have to choose to do. We have to start nourishing this relationship. And it's just a choice, an intentional choice, like everything in life. So you can choose. I don't know, you that are watching this, how you talk to yourself. If you talk to yourself in a loving, compassionate, inspirational way, keep on doing it, by all means. And even, why not, pump it up. Say even more loving things to you. Inspire yourself even more. Be even more clear about what you want and what you don't want. If that's not the case, okay, easy. The first time from now on that you find yourself telling yourself, are you stupid or what? Or you shouldn't be thinking that, you shouldn't be doing that, or what do you think you are, how do you do, what do you think you are, or whatever else. You know, any inner dialogue that it is of a negative attitude, please stop. This is when you become the observer and the observed, and you become and transform who you want, and you transform your life. You stop there, and you literally, I'm not kidding, you say something to yourself that is different. You may be telling yourself, no, I am actually a capable person. I am actually deserving of whatever it is, but you say something opposite of what you've been telling yourself. Does it make sense? As if you listen to somebody saying something to you or to somebody else, and you tell them, no, wait, this is not the case. And you literally formulate another thought, okay? And you might be thinking, but this is crazy. It's like I'm talking to myself. Yeah, but you are crazy. We are all crazy. There's always voices in our head. You know what's the difference between us and what people say, oh, he or she's crazy? Is the crazy, what we call crazy people. At least they have the guts of talking out loud, say what they think out loud, so other people think they're crazy. But we do the same. But in the intimity of our own head, we haven't even got the courage, the guts to say it out loud. So people think that we are sane. No. If what we tell ourselves, it's not inspiring, it's not loving, it's not compassionate, we are crazy. Anyway, sorry. Okay. Sylvia say, nobody likes to feel a label attached. No, exactly, Sylvia. We hate our essence. If there's one thing that our essence, our soul hates, is labels. We can't stand labels. Because it's completely inorganic and unnatural. We are fluid. It's like a river. Every moment in time, the river is gone. It's not there. It's already gone. And our soul is so dynamic. In the energy, in the universe, everything is energy moving so fast. So nothing to judge somebody is like taking a snapshot, a photography. But we are not static. So no, the soul would never, ever accept that. Natasha, hello Natasha. Natasha say, it's hard, it is hard. It needs a big effort. I totally agree. Normally I feel very tired to become calm after my anger. Only then I talk to the person, but really it is every time so strong for myself. I know, Natasha, it's one of the biggest challenges. It's really, really difficult. Although, Natasha, it's really useful. But then again, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do and what not to do. If you feel like angry and if you want to tell somebody FO, go for it, absolutely. And sometimes it's even healthy, it's even needed. You know, it depends in which context, of course. Although, really, when two people, even when we are angry, we are not able to communicate objectively, because when we are angry, even a memory, it's distorted. But give you an example. Okay, let's say, think about this. Let's say you have been to watch a movie, okay? Let's say 3 days ago you went to a movie or to a theater to see a show, and you liked it very, very, very much, okay? Now, but you think about this. Let's say I see you tomorrow, so 4 days after the show, and I happen to meet you in a moment where you're very, very happy. You're feeling good about yourself, you're feeling peaceful, you're feeling happy. And I ask you, how was the show you went to see 4 days ago? I am assuming, of course, but I guess that you would tell me that it was really good, it was amazing. Anyway, you would describe me the show, or whatever you would tell me about the show would be of a very, very positive, of a positive nature. Let's say I meet you in a moment where you're not feeling good. Maybe you just had an argument with somebody. Maybe you were angry, maybe you were frustrated. And I ask you, hey Natasha, how was the show you went to see 4 days ago? Again, I'm totally assuming. but I would imagine that you wouldn't really talk to me, you wouldn't remember the show as being as pleasant, as enjoyable, as you experienced it, and you would describe it to me with less enthusiasm than if I find you and ask you in a moment where you're feeling happy. Do you see where I'm coming from? So imagine how our emotions and our clarity of mind and of memory, which by the way, memories are not movies and they're not pictures. Our mind, when we remember something, nothing is stored. Our mind is not like a tape recorder, but we are reconstructing what we have seen and how we have felt, but that reconstruction and that pictures and movie that we see, it's very much affected by the underlying energy of our body, which is our emotional state. Anyway, Mariela says, no, of course, nobody could tell me that I must. Yes, we're talking about if you must do something, or please, I would like you to. Nobody can tell me that I must. I don't give this possibility. I eventually choose a civil dialogue. Absolutely, Mariella. Yes. Our essence, our inner voice, again, cannot stand what to be told. Would rebel right, left, and center, because freedom is the nature of us, it's the nature of life. So, but something that I would like us to consider is, because this can happen, we might be actually not demanding things from others, and we may be mindful of the fact that if we want something, we would like something, we actually make a request and not a demand. We would say, you know what, I would very much appreciate if you could do this or that, or don't do this or that, right? But if somebody approaches us, let's say, Mariella, you don't like to be somebody when somebody demands something from you, but it could happen that somebody makes a demand of you, okay? That somebody approaches you and she or he is very angry and demands you of something. What I advise you to do is, okay, because what happened, and this is when knowing what is happening during a non-peaceful, meaning during a violent communication is going on, this is what is important to understand. The person that is demanding, the person that is aggressive and angry, it is not, I repeat, it is not attacking us. It's not attacking you. Nothing in life is ever personal. Seriously, if we could always keep this in mind, our life will become so much easier. This is really one of those times when easier said than done has to be said. Although, when somebody is angry, when somebody is demanding something from us, what he or she is actually telling us is that they have a need. There is an unfulfilled need from their part, like from us. When we are angry to somebody, with somebody, is because we need something from them, right? We need them to behave in a certain way or not to behave in a certain way. And it's the same for others. So when somebody is angry, they are needing something from us. Although what often happens is that the person that is angry, it's not clear. We were talking about before the importance of being clear with themselves. Normally, most of the time, people, they're not clear even within themselves what is that they really want and what is that they really need. Although, what we can do, and if we do this properly, is very powerful, is to immediately not react to their anger, to their aggressiveness, and to their demands. So, it's important to truly listen to them, to what they're saying. And then, if we could, of course, to remain in a state of peace as much as we can, and ask them, but literally openly ask them, okay, it would be good, but if we could do this not like a parrot, because sometimes otherwise people, they could even get angry if you tell them, oh, I see you're not feeling so good. But even if you don't want to do this, if you don't want to acknowledge them, what is important is to ask them, okay, I hear you, but what do you need from me? It's important that they hear, what is it that you need from me? What can I do for you? Okay? Again, it's impossible to know how the other person would react. But normally when somebody's angry, the other person that is spoken to gets angry as well, and the vicious circle, the circle of conflict gets created, and everything escalates unless it's interrupted. But if we are present and we know that it's not a personal attack, they are simply trying to tell us, listen to me, there is something that I need, or that I think I need, but it's something going on in me, there's something, and there's an unexpressed need. So if we tell them, but with our heart, what is it that you need from me? Most probably we open the door for a complete different kind of conversation. And this reminds me of the fact that, Marshall Rosenberg is an expert in nonviolent communication. He says that something that I love. With words, words can erect walls or open windows. In other words, with the way we communicate with our words, we can isolate ourselves, build up walls, or open windows. So if somebody is angry, if we want to open a window of communication, to be aware that they are asking our attention, and they are asking for somebody to listen to them first, and they have a need which is unfulfilled. They may know what the need is, they may not know. But if we ask them, what is it that you need from me? What can I do for you? Most of the time, that's all is needed to do what? To deflate is not the word I'm looking for. To disinnescare. To dissipate. Yeah, to dissipate the angry energy. Also because anger, it's an energy that wants to go out. It's pushing. So if it doesn't feel anything against it or another angry energy, it just goes, right? And then the person is empty. You have probably experienced it before, of seeing in action, or if never, do it. When somebody is angry with you, try, even without even going into what they need, what you want, even without saying a word, if you are able to just truly listen to them, don't go like this. They get even more angry. But if you're able to just be present and don't say anything, literally don't say anything, and don't antagonize them. Sometimes all is needed, and you see that they go on and they tell you, and when the anger is alive, I'm talking about. And you can see that then afterwards, that's all they needed. But that's all I need, that's what we need, isn't it? When you are really angry, what do you want? You just need to deflate like a balloon. It's a lot of energy, anger. Anyway, let me keep on reading. Natasha say, I mean to talk with myself and reach a new feeling. Okay, I see. I mean to talk to myself and reach a new feeling. It's hard. Each time I feel tired. Yes. I can imagine. To self-talk, to use self-talk, and to be able with self-talk to generate a new feeling, I know it's hard. Yes, Natasha, it's not an easy task, and I can absolutely understand that each time you feel tired. But I have a question for you. Do you feel it's worth it? And I'm looking forward to read what you say. So Natasha, you say that it's hard, of course, and you feel tired every time you talk to yourself and you reach a different feeling. But my question is it worth it? Let me know. Mariella say, an excess of ego is a bad thing for every kind of relationship. Totally. Yes. An excess of ego is absolutely not productive in any relationship, because an excess of ego is a total stand that we take, and it's like this is the ego in relationship. Really, it's like this is it, this is my position, this is my point of view. So either you come towards me and you give me what I want, which most of the time for the ego is either you tell me what I want you to tell me, you see things the way I want you to see them, otherwise out. Or, and that and that is a kind ego when they say out. Otherwise they go, give me the knife and I'll attack you. Yes, yeah, that's ego for us. Marie says, any suggestion of advice on how to love myself a little better? Okay, it's a big question, lovely question. Any suggestion or advice on how to love myself a little better? Right, it's mega generalization here coming out from my mouth, because A, I don't know you, B, I have got not a clue how you treat yourself, how you speak to yourself, the relationship you have with yourself. But regardless to how you relate to yourself at the moment, why not doing this? Imagine a really, really lovely person that you know personally, or maybe somebody that you admire, but you see them, like maybe somebody that you've seen on, that you think somebody that you've seen behaving in a way that you like, you love and you admire, and you think, wow, she or he, but let's say she, because you're a lady, she is behaving in a very, very loving, kind way. And then imagine how that person would be talking to her best friend or her lover, or anyway, to people that she loves. And then, as you imagine her, and I'm sure that you can do that, your mind it's good, we are good, our mind, to do that. As you imagine how she would very lovingly speak to this other person, start speaking, if it's different, if the quality of that speech is different from the quality of the speeches that you use when you communicate to yourself, acquire and literally model it. You start intentionally choose to talk to yourself in that way. Or imagine yourself think of how you talk to somebody that you truly love, your best friend or a family member, somebody that is dear for you, that you really feel warmth in your heart when you think of them. Imagine them being in a challenging situation, and then, or even if they're not in a challenging situation, imagine how the quality of the speech, of the communication with them, and then train yourself to talk in the same way to yourself. It is that easy, it's that simple. Imagine that inside of you, which it is, inside of us there's a little, call it the child, but there is like a childlike part of us, which is really like a kid, right? And this is, I personally, again, there's nothing technical in this, and everything I say, take it with a pinch of salt, but listen to it and then see if it resonates. What we call our unconscious, it's like a 7-year-old child. In other words, our unconscious part of us, and in this, for the sake of clarity, I would regard as being our inner child. It is our unconscious. Every image that we are exposed to, that part of us, the pure part of us, absorb it and it models it somehow. It learns from it. So can you imagine how the way you speak to yourself, how powerful it can be towards your unconscious, towards your inner child? So if you decide and choose the way you want to communicate with yourself, what data, what information your subconscious, your inner child, it's gonna get I can assure you that your life has to transform. But like everything we talk about, you have to do these things. If you don't put them in action, nothing changes. Nothing changes. It's regularity. You know? Do you think a desert gets flourishing with vegetation if a big thunderstorm, let's say a 3-hour thunderstorm happens, isolated, and then for about 6 months nothing else happens? Or do you think it gets green and flourishes with vegetation, the desert, if every day for about 4 or 5 hours every day, not a big thunderstorm, but little rain every day happens, every day forever? Which one do you think is more effective? The big thunderstorm ones every 6 months, or the regular rain? The regular rain. So that's why my advice in any circumstances about anything that we talk about, whatever you hear that I say, I invite you to, I don't say it just because I want to say it, because I've got nothing better to do with my time than be here in front of the phone and say something, because I want you to transform your life. Why? Because your life is my life. I'm not kidding. I'm looking at myself. You are an extension of myself. So subconsciously, indirectly, but very directly, because we are all in this energetic soup, universal soup. If you don't live the life you would like to live, if you don't communicate peacefully with yourself, I can feel it, believe me. Not consciously, but I can feel it. So your life is my life. And also, why do I say this with conviction? Because I know before 2002, until the age of 32, my inner dialogue was terrible. I'm serious. I was very negative towards myself. The way I was very judgmental with my inner dialogue. Now, it's a completely different story. But why? Not because I read a book, not because I watched a seminar, I went to a seminar or whatever, because yes, I did all these things, read books, watched seminars and whatever else, but I started to put in practice regularly what I'm talking about. So, anyway, I've been talking too much, let me read. Hello, Alessandra, ciao. I like the face with the hearts. Mariella says, it depends on our positive vision and on the value we give to the situation, person, I think. That a brilliant person attracts positivity, otherwise not. Yes, let me really want to understand. It depends on our positive vision and on the value we give to the situation, person, I think. Oh, about the way we feel, yeah, definitely. Think that a brilliant person attracts positivity, otherwise not. I totally agree, thanks. Natasha say, thank you. Yes, the example of the film is very clear. Ah, thank you, I'm glad it was as helpful. Mariella say, I understand this. Thank you. Hello, Chiara. Hello. Welcome. Natasha say, yes. When I ask, what can I do for you? They suddenly stop and listen to themselves. Yes. That's exactly what I meant, Natasha. When we do this, when you do that, when you ask them, what can I do for you? You give them the opportunity of many things, not just one. A, to know that you've heard them. They have been heard. They have been listened to. And trust me, not many people are able to listen to others. And especially when others are angry, really. Most of the people that get triggered like little matches and they don't listen. So, A, they are heard, which is very unheard of nowadays. B, you give them the opportunity with that question to ask themselves a question that is not sure, but most probably, and even more so if they're angry because they don't know, there's a conflict going on inside, they haven't even asked that question to themselves. So they don't even know, what do I need? And so yes, they go inside and you give them the opportunity to ask themselves a question and to listen to themselves, because then they ask themselves the question, but they go in, they think, oh yeah, what do I need? And trust me, most of the time, or very often, people are angry, people are frustrated because they don't know what they want, because they don't know what they need is. But if we ask them, what do you need? Which also is different than say, I know you need something. No. You know what I mean? What is it? Do you need anything? And they go, oh my gosh. And then maybe they get to the point, and then everything becomes easier. Then everything becomes organic and natural. In other words, they may realize that actually, yes, I need you to do this when I ask you that, for example. And there you have it. And you can say, do you know what? That's fine. Just ask me, tell me. And that's it. And I'll do it. And they go, thank you. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you remind me of how I used to be before 2002, before I realized that there was more to life than complaining and being negative and taking drugs. I was like that very much. I used to be upset and angry, of course, because of many unresolved issues. But even in practicality, because of all these unresolved issues, little things used to trigger me, and I used to feel angry. I didn't know why. And then if somebody had asked me, well, what do you need from me? Then I would know. But unless something would prompt me to go in and ask myself, what is it that I need here? What is it? Why am I angry? I would have lost. I was not in contact with reality. Don't know if it makes sense. Anyway, so if it doesn't make sense, tell me, Luca, it doesn't make sense what you said. Hello, Hamra. Hello, a greeting of peace. Thank you so much. Yes, to you too. Natasha, it is, thank you. Yes, the answer to the question, it's very hard and it's challenging. It's not easy to change our feeling with inner talk in the dialogue by saying it is worthy. It is essential for me. Thank you for sharing that, Natasha. These are the very precious condivisions in the chat. Yes, it is. These inner works, let's call them inner tasks, they're extremely, extremely powerful. Yes, extremely, extremely difficult. I think, because normally nobody has taught us to do them. So it's not something that comes natural to us. So it's a big effort, because you know what? To start to be self-conscious, to develop meta-consciousness, meaning to be conscious of being conscious, and to inquire in ourselves how our mind is working. It is not a natural thing. Our mind and our ego is structured to look out, not inward. So normally this happens, that we start questioning ourselves when we are either in a state of desperation, like what happened to me, that when the shit hits the fan, you think, oh fuck, sorry, excuse my French, oh sugar, I'm digging, I can't dig anymore. So maybe there's something that I could be aware of, what I do and what I don't do. So how am I using my mind? Or maybe out of inspiration, which means we are inspired by a book, by somebody that tells us something, or knowing ourselves more, or whatever else. Okay, these are the polarity. Or maybe we evolve. I mean, literally life will present us with situations where we become even more and more self-aware. But it's not a natural thing to be able to talk to ourselves and to establish a strong relationship within ourselves, unless we really work at it. Samra says, sorry, I'm joining so late. That's okay, Samra. Everything, you know what, Samra? I believe in perfection. In other words, what is to me, what we call perfection is, it's an illusion. And if we think that perfection is what we think perfection is, I think it's a mind, it's artificial, it's an illusion. Does it make sense? So, because things could be perfect as I think they should be perfect, but it may not, and most of the time they're not. So, to me, what is happening, it's perfection. Everything else, it's a story. It's an assumption. I might be thinking it's perfect, I might be thinking it's imperfect, but hey, if that's what it is, that's what it is. If you arrive now, it's because it's absolutely perfect that you arrive now. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. So thank you for arriving now. Anyway, Marie says, thank you. This is a good exercise to start with. Thank you. I'm glad you appreciate it. So yeah, I invite you to start doing it. How is it that he or she would talk to himself or herself? How is it that I talk to myself? Natasha say, Luca, thank you also for the example of the desert. Oh, you're welcome. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, we like thunderstorm, don't we? I love thunderstorm, especially when it's hot. You have wow, it's very dramatic. It's very wow. But if we really want something to take place in ourselves, the regularity of the drop can make a big difference. Samra says, perfection is an illusion. And you are right. Whatever is happening perfectly. I think so. And you know what? That is the absolute shortcut to enlightenment. Each and every enlightened people, and anyway, I think we all fluctuate we're not always living on cloud 9. But anyway, whenever we are feeling at peace, and I'm not talking about happy because something has happened and we think, oh yeah, something has happened and so I have to be happy, which is conditional. No, I'm talking about, have you ever been in a situation where maybe everything is totally mundane, nothing has happened out of the norm, but you are so peaceful, so content, so present. And have you ever had a moment, and maybe they're even just fleeting moments, or maybe longer, when maybe few minutes before you were so taken in your mind by your thoughts and your worries, but then for a moment, what happens, you perceive and you actually see for the first time what is, which is perfection. Life is perfection. If we could only realize that there's only perfection everywhere. God, it's amazing. I can feel it now, just talking about it. It's anyway. But yes, if we want to suffer, we think the things are imperfect. In fact, there is one thought, which is the underlying thought, that it can be conscious or unconscious of every person that suffers in that moment in time, that says, things should be different from how they are. Life should be different. He or she should have behaved in a different way. But I tell you what, he or she are behaving perfectly how they should, otherwise they would have behaved differently. And life happens exactly perfectly as it has to. So it's our responsibility to know that it's our expectations that generates our attitude towards life. But if we could not have any expectation, and believe me, it's possible, we would just look and be curious and see what unfolds. Anyway, we got 1 minute. Can you believe it? Samra says it perfectly. Thank you. Samra says, acceptance is the key to start witnessing perfection. Yes, Samra, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. Accepting what is. Sylvia says, personally, I'm afraid of perfection. I'm curious. I don't know. What do you mean by perfection? Now I would have to ask you, define your perfection. What is perfection for you? Samra says, each moment is perfectly crafted by the divine. I totally agree. And again, it's a choice. We could be choosing to believe that everything is imperfect and nothing is as it should be, and we would feel in some way, or we could choose to believe that everything is absolutely perfect, divinely perfect. Natasha, look around and be grateful. Thank you, Natasha, for reminding us that, yes, we can. And it's a choice. It's an intentional choice. Happiness, contentment, satisfaction, even love, they're choices. Sometimes we think that love or gratitude, of happy or happiness, they are the product of certain conditions? No. Certain conditions are the consequence, the product of the state of being called gratitude, the state of being called love, the state of being called whatever else. Sylvia said, trying to reach perfection has always made me unhappy. Now I simply follow the stream of life. Thank you for explaining. And of life, considering it a beautiful and meaningful. Thank you so much. Oh, I see what you mean. Yes. But yes, I agree. Perfection, constructive perfection, is a mind construction. Absolutely all choices. Yes, they are all choices. Thank you so much. Well, we have to close this live. I love you very, very much. I thank you very much for being here with me, but also for watching this, whenever you're watching this. That's it. Oh, I'm going to put in the comments now, copy and paste the invite. If you might want to read it, copy and put it on the fridge. But really, I invite you to put everything into action. Ciao. Thank you. I wish you a great evening. And we're going to be seeing each other on Wednesday. We are going to be talking about... Wednesday, we talk about... I can't remember. Oh, sugar. Now you really got me curious. Au revoir. Yes. You know when you really want to see... 1 second. I'm going over time. I shouldn't be doing this. Oh, when stories become reality. Yes, we're going to be talking about when stories become reality. Ciao. Thank you so much.